Well, actually, though, I just want to say that we are hearing from a Denso spokesperson who says that the FBI raid was, quote, absolutely not related to the recall. In fact, they're saying it has to do possibly with an alleged violation of antitrust laws. That's their story, but we bring in the team just as the actual event on Capitol Hill takes a 10-minute break before Akio Toyoda comes to speak. Bob Dylan Schneider, this man has said, my name is on every single car. He sounds like he's about to apologize, which, of course, is great. And, Lauren, we'll talk to you about that in just a minute. But it's a little late, is it not?
Liz, Toyota has become the Tiger Woods of the automobile industry. Apology is too late. There are people who are ill. There are people who are suffering. There are people who are anxiety-ridden. There are employees who care. There are suppliers who are upset. Toyota has a very serious problem, and an apology isn't enough. It seems like every day there's something else. This FBI raid is just another step. What does it mean? The FBI is not going to go in unless it's a criminal problem. There's no reason for them to do it other than that. So there's a serious problem this company has. The real question is, can the company get over the hump? It takes more than an apology. And once over the hump, how do they recover? This is a great moment in the automobile industry. It's historic. It's going to be one that captures the history books.
Well, Lauren, we heard from the branding expert, Bob Dylan Schneider. The fact is that the brand itself, which had been synonymous with safety and with eco concerns and all the things that it is now being charged of having violated, has a serious brand problem. Toyota was being sold as a safety brand. If that is at risk, the whole company is at risk, no?
Absolutely. And I think they've got a real problem here. You know, even before I heard the story about the FBI raid, I read Akio Toyoda's testimony, and at least the statement that's in his prepared testimony, I think doesn't go far enough in making an apology.
Okay, that's terrible, Lauren. Seriously, I mean, don't you think you, who has written the book on the right way to apologize, what should he be saying?
Tell me what's wrong with the cars. I mean, it's a very nice statement, and it's very clear that he takes this very personally. I hope he understands that this isn't really about him, but it still doesn't say what's wrong with the various models that are under recall. There are general statements about quality control and growing faster than they should have and not paying enough attention to consumer complaints. That's all well and good, but what is wrong? How concerned should consumers be? And what specifically are they going to do, apart from all of the various committees that he's setting up, to really solve this problem?
But Bob, the brand, again, you are the branding man. How do they get back their reputation for being the safety vehicle on the road?
I'm interested in hearing Toyota talk about its technology, its research and development, its commitment to the customer, its commitment to safety. I'm interested in all of those things, and I don't think Mr. Toyota is going to talk about that today. I think he's going to apologize. Happy to accept his apology, but it's not enough. He needs to go a lot further. The American public is very concerned. We want to hear more. We want to hear it now. We want to hear it on a consistent basis.
Okay, our guests are standing by. We're going to take a quick break. Again, there is a break on Capitol Hill at the moment. As soon as Mr. Toyoda takes the stage there, we will take that, but we're bringing back our guests in just a moment leading up to that important moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. The Dow is still up about 84 points.
We are still awaiting Mr. Toyoda. Again, as soon as we get a clear shot of him, he is just about to testify before the Congressional Committee on what is happening to his car company, how he gets his reputation back. A car company that was synonymous with safety is now at siege, not only by regulators, but also by the press. As you can see, we have an all-star panel ahead of Mr. Toyoda's comments. Joining us from D.C., Lauren Bloom, founder and CEO of Elegant Solutions and Consulting and author of The Art of the Apology. Here in studio, branding expert Bob Dylan Schneider and our own Jeff Flock, who's all over the Toyota story. Jeff, I believe we're seeing representatives of Toyota coming in, but I don't see the chief himself.
So if we interrupt you, Jeff, well, we apologize in advance.
Go ahead, Jeff. What's the latest?
I hear you. Three quick things, and I don't see Mr. Toyoda yet. More on the raid. Indeed, 3 companies, all Toyota suppliers: Denso, as we reported earlier, Yazaki, and a company known as Tram, which is short for Tokai Rika. That's based in Plymouth, Michigan. FBI and the companies now confirming that they have been raided. Just so you know, In Michigan, the company Denso makes a variety of parts, including the accelerator pedals, according to the Wall Street Journal, that Toyota uses in multiple vehicles, but none of the ones that were recalled. So that's sort of interesting. Another quickie, Toyota now releasing a portion of Mr. Toyoda's opening statements. In it, he will say, reportedly, according to Toyota, that their priorities became confused, the priorities being safety, quality, and volume. We were not able to stop, think, and make improvements as much as we were able to before, says Mr. Toyoda. We pursued growth over the speed at which we were able to develop our people and our organization. That is what he will apparently say in his opening statement. Third quick headline for you. This from Jim Press, the former head of Toyota US, went on to help lead Chrysler. He says, quote, "The root cause of the problems at Toyota is that the company was hijacked some years ago by anti-family, financially oriented pirates. They didn't have the character to maintain a customer-first focus," but he says Akio does. He's a strong supporter of Mr. Toyoda. He says people that were in charge before him were the problem. Mr. Press says, finally, Toyota doesn't want me to speak out, but I can't stand it anymore, and somebody has to tell it like it is. It should be noted Press left Toyota under good terms, not so much at Chrysler, but he is a well-respected, in fact, the first non-Japanese to be a member of the Toyota board. So when somebody like that speaks on this topic, certainly you need to listen. Mr. Toyoda back beyond the cameras there, perhaps.
Yeah,
Can't
we're
wait to hear
waiting
from
for him, and we have groups of the media there, some 20 deep. Our cameras are right in the thick of it. We'll take it as soon as he walks up. But Bob Dylan Schneider, you were shaking your head when Jeff Locke was reading from Toyota's prepared statements. Why?
Well, let's hear it for for Mr. Press, first of all. He's characterized this exactly right. Mr. Toyoda should not talk about the past. He should say, we've got to deal with the past, but we're not going to deal with the future. And what's going to count in the future is the customer, safety, technology, and getting it right. This is what's going to happen in the future. He's got to put a positive turn to this thing, not a negative turn. This is too much of an apology. It's just frankly not in the right vein.
Lauren, it has happened so often when companies suffer from hubris. They are very successful. They suffer from that success by cutting off the voice of the consumer. They stop listening to their best customers and stop hearing what they want. Is that what happened with Toyota?
I think that may have been part of it, and honestly, it's funny that I hear this from your other expert, because I'm not sure this is all that effective an apology. I agree that they need to look forward, but they also have to acknowledge what has gone wrong in the past, I think, with greater specificity than they have so far.
Okay.
So it may not be good PR. I don't think it's a great apology either.
Well, the first day didn't go so well. We had Jim Lentz speaking, and Jeff Locke, you watched that as well. It looked like a kind of a disaster film unwinding in front of us, because you had, for example, John Dingell of Michigan asking about 15 questions in a row, all of which Mr. Lentz had to say, I don't know. He didn't have the answers.
He was not the guy to be there to take those questions. He's in charge of sales. I mean, They even have a separate company that he heads that is in charge only of sales. He has nothing to do with the recalls. He doesn't have the power.
Bob, what about the information that they are now being asked to deliver, some of which they say is proprietary information? If we deliver information about the details of our electrical system, perhaps our competitors, which include, by the way, the U.S. government right now, the very people that are going to be the inquisitors, are going to get stuff that'll give them the competitive advantage. Do you throw that out the window in order to make amends with customers?
Toyota has to open the books. They've got to make a complete and total exposition of everything. All the memos, all the reports, all the technical data. It's got to be available.
What about that, though, Bob? They are now being questioned by competitors. The U.S. government has a huge stake in GM and Chrysler, even a partial stake in Ford as far as energy grants go. So, I mean, is it within their rights at all to say, hey, you guys are competitors of mine. I shouldn't be giving you everything I have?
There are people getting killed, and I don't think they can really stop that. The really dirty little question that really hasn't been raised yet is this a xenophobic issue? Is the United States opposed to Japan? It is not, of course. The United States is for safety. The United States is for the customer.
Okay, we want to go to the hearing and just listen in for a moment.